Welcome, everyone, and welcome to Culture plus Sports and Performance, the February installment of the Norton Center's Culture Plus series. My name is Steve Hoffman, and I'm the Executive Director of Center College's Norton Center for the Arts. Today, I am in Danville, Kentucky, on the ancestral lands of the Cherokee, Shawnee, Shawnee, Yuchi, Adena, and Hopewell nations. We are honored to have an incredible and timely program with some fantastic Kentucky artists and thought leaders to share their stories and ideas and art related to how we examine the idea of performance, be it through the arts, athletics, academics, and even work. So thank you for joining us. The Culture Plus series is part of the Norton Center's Creative Conversations program, which is supported by an endowed gift by 1995 Center graduate Dr. Jeff Martin and Ken Michael. Now I would like to introduce you to Molly Baker, the Norton Center Engagement Services Manager. Molly.
Hi, thank you, Steve, and thanks to everyone for being here. We're so glad you could join us for this exciting event. So as Steve mentioned, I just have a couple logistical things to get us started. First, I want to let you know that you have a couple viewing options. If you select the speaker view, you'll find that the person who's actually talking will be prominently featured on your screen. If you choose the gallery view, you'll see multiple video feeds, and you can cycle through the pages to see all the folks who are attending. So we've made sure that everyone who's a panelist or a participant tonight will remain on the first page. So if you're in gallery view, you'll still be able to see all of the speakers tonight. I also want to take a moment to thank Joanna Huffman. She is our ASL interpreter for the evening. And if you find her services will be useful for you, please make sure you select the gallery view I just described and pin her window. Next, you'll see or probably notice that you've been muted, but please know that there's still going to be an opportunity for you to participate in a Q&A session at the end of the program tonight. If you would like to ask a question, please type it into your chat box and direct it to Matt Overing, and Matt will then field those questions to Jessica, our moderator for the night. We'll do our best to get to everyone's questions, but if we don't, we'll do our best to follow up after the program with the panelists if there's time. So with that, I will turn it back over to Steve, and thanks again, everyone.
Thanks, Molly. And thanks to the entire Norton Center staff for making this program happen and for all of the hard work our team is doing to get us prepared to have in-person programs again. Now, it is with great pleasure that I introduce Center College's President, Dr. Milton Moreland, for an official welcome. President Moreland, thank you so much for your ongoing support of cultural programs in our community and on campus, especially now.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks, Molly. And thanks again to all of the Norton Center staff, incredible group of people here at Center College who not only are helping us as a college survive this pandemic by working across the campus in so many different roles, but also keeping the Norton Center alive and well. And we are so anxious to get back in person, but I'm so grateful for all of you who planned these great programs and bring a lot of incredible people to us, even if now on screen. I am really happy to introduce our moderator for tonight's program, someone who embodies what this program is about and also has brought together an incredible group of alumni and current students who really tell the story of what I would say, what is a liberal arts college degree all about? This is what we are all about. It's about sharing life and enjoying each other and also appreciating the whole person, the whole student, the thinking part, the academic part, the performing part, the athletic part. We appreciate all of that. So it's wonderful to have a program that kind of accentuates that and pull some people together who really embody that spirit. Jessica Chisley is a 2004 alumna of Center College, a music major, and somebody who has had a great career here. but also holds a Master's of Science degree in sports psychology from the University of Southern Mississippi, and has, of course, been a part of our center family for a long time. 15 and a half years served as a coach of the women's soccer team, rising to be the associate head coach. She joined Center in 2005, so as an employee, but I am so happy to also say that Jessica is now the Assistant Director of Diversity and Inclusion Programming Center College. So she is beloved in this community and just an incredible talent. She's also been a posse mentor, serves on the College of Staff Congress, and here in Danville is a board member of the Great American Brass Band Festival. As an artist, many of you know Jessica's talents, but just a quick note there. She's been a member of many local bands, including the party band, Dump Truck on the Run. And within that band, she met one of her duo partners, the late John Resnick, who she played with saxophone. She's also a lead and backup vocals in that band and others. In the music duo, the Sunspots, Resnick and Chisley brought the funk with their upbeat, eclectic mix of music and infectious harmonies. Jessica, we are so happy to have you back on the Norton Center program with us tonight, and look forward to you moderating an incredible program with some very talented people. Can't wait to hear. Welcome. Thank you for being with us tonight, everybody.
Dr. Moreland, thank you so much for a beautiful introduction. That's wow, that's humbling to hear that. So it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's culture plus sports and performance. So welcome, neighbors. Welcome to the Culture Plus neighborhood. So Dr. Moreland's already told you, I'm Jessica Chisley. Yes, I'm such a proud alumna of this institution. It is the reason for a lot of what I do now as adult and as an adult, and has provided the foundation for so much in my life. So I am truly pleased and happy to be here and to continue giving and serving this community. So to each of you tonight, our neighbors, welcome. And we have a beautiful program prepared for you tonight. A great conversation with some amazing performers, both on the athletics field and also in various forms of art. So to kind of quote a little bit from our promotional literature, sports and the performing arts are often kind of seen as these two odd entities, right? When in reality, the two fields actually have much more in common than one might expect. So we'll make sure that we shed a little light on that, and then also get you thinking a little bit more and a little bit deeper about who we are as artists, who we are as performers on and off the field, in and out of the uniform. So lots to get to. Don't want to take up much more of your time, so let's get straight into it and meet tonight's panelists and guests. First up, we'd like to meet Jordan Gay, and the rest of the panelists will follow in short order. But what we want to know, tell us a little bit about yourselves, panelists. Where are you from? What was your involvement while you were at Center? And then what did you study while you were here? What are you doing now?
Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Jordan Gay. And I went to Center from 2010 through 2013. I was born and raised around Danville, Kentucky. If you've been in sports, you probably know my dad. He's the longtime athletic trainer. I think he's been there since like 88 or 89, long time. But while I was at Center, I played football for 3 years. I didn't start at Center, so I actually transferred in. So that's why I was only there for 3 years. I I was involved in fraternity, which again, it's just the whole amazing part of being at a liberal arts school is being able to, you know, join a fraternity, go through all that. So I was a Phi Delta Theta. Sorry if that, you know, pisses anybody off. You know, we all have our own little niches or whatever. And then also while I was a center, you know, I got to study abroad, which was an amazing experience. You know, so I was very blessed to have that opportunity to go to such a wonderful school and, you know, experience all the wonderful things the center has to offer. And then once I graduated, ended up playing in the NFL for a few years. And then now me and my family, we've settled in North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte, and got 3 kids now, which is crazy. Got 1 on the way. We're nuts. And then we're currently in the process of opening up. I had to support it a little bit. We got a training facility that we're working on. It's called D1 Training. And really the whole goal of that is to give back to the community and hopefully, you know, inspire the youth. So that's me, Jordan Gay, excited to be here and can't wait to talk to the rest of the panelists about culture and sports.
Okay, I think I'm up next. I'm Olivia Alford. I'm a 2017 graduate. So while I was at Center, I was involved, tried to be involved in as much as possible. I was a member of the women's soccer team as well as the women's basketball team. So I was in season. Most of the time I was on campus, which I absolutely loved. It was good for me athletically. It was good for me academically. So really great experience there. And then was also blessed with the opportunity and the good enough people to also be able to participate in some of the, you know, more artistic things that interested me. Dr. Hall was really great and worked with me as far as scheduling wise to be able to participate in Center Singers. And then I was also able to pick up a glass course and work with Steve Powell, everybody else down in the glass studio, which was really just a very humble, you know, I mean, once in a lifetime experience. So, you know, while I was there, like I said, tried to be involved in as much as possible, kept myself busy, both on a schedule, as well as just, you know, with school and athletics and the arts. Now I'm here, I'm back in Louisville. I'm from Louisville originally, but I'm back here now. I have a computer science degree from Center. And so once I graduated, you know, kind of an open-ended question with my liberal arts degree, you know, where do you want to go from there? Got the opportunity to do some engineering with GE Appliances here in Louisville, which has been a great opportunity. Taken part in what they call the Edison program, which is kind of an engineering training program. And so I've been doing that for the last 3 years and earned my master's at U of L in electrical engineering. And right now I'm just rolling along with that. But I've, you know, really been able to utilize those skills of both time management as well as, you know, just the analytical, more creative, you know, thought processes that I really was able to expand upon at Center. And so it's been a great experience, and I'm looking forward to this next experience and tonight. And I think that about covers me.
Awesome. Thank you, Olivia. Dallas.
Hello, my name is Dallas Douglas. 19 years old. I am second year here at Center College. I'm from Louisville. Went to Louisville High School, played football, was in the band. Here, I'm in Kentucky Ensemble. I was thinking about doing jazz ensemble as well and rhythm fusion. I had my big famous picture at the Kentucky Ensemble last year during so yeah, that's pretty much about me. Working to be a music major as well. But yeah, I don't really have much.
Which then leaves, thank you very much, Dallas. Iva.
Yeah, My name is Iva Durand. I was at Center College and graduated in 2015. Had the privilege of being there all 4 years. While there, I was also on the football team, even played a few years with Jordan for a little bit. And funny thing is, when I first saw him, I thought he was a linebacker. And when I found out he was a kicker, I was like, man, this is crazy. I thought he was competition for me at first. But yeah, so I played football at Center. I was a music major. And then as well, I was in the Center College choir, in the men's choir, as well as a member of the Diversity Student Union while I was there. I was the senior representative for my class. And so that's pretty much it about me. I'm in Cincinnati now. And it's gonna sound crazy when I tell you all that I'm doing right now, but I'm currently doing music in the aspect of I help with studio sessions, the digital side of music, those things. No, I'm not one of these six-figure people yet, but I'll still get to do those different things. Hopefully help people with their gift of music. And so I get to record them, mix, master, all those different things, as well as being a musician. I currently play for the church I attend right now, as well as I'm a minister at my church. And so I'm actually in seminary right now. And I also get some gigs DJing. So it sounds crazy, but I preach, I DJ, and I do music. So yeah, that's pretty much all that it says about me.
That is awesome. It's like so I have to mute myself because I have a tendency, like when I'm a part of programs like this, to like I enjoy it because obviously like this is the first time we're all hearing all of this, and so it's definitely fun for me to hear these things too. But I'm sitting here getting images as you're speaking, Iva, of like you're the next like MC Hammer. So he was, you know, he's a minister and he came out and obviously gave us "You Can't Touch This" and all that stuff. But like, yeah, so I'm seeing you as the next MC Hammer, like floating across. Can't touch this.
He definitely got better moves than me.
Well, once you start making six figures, man. All right. So since thank you for your background. So you and I actually share quite a bit in common. So we both studied music while we were here at Center, which is really cool. What many people may not know is that you actually wrote a song, kind of an anthem, really, that that people like bob their heads to at football games. So it's a song called "Gold for the Gold and the White." And if you go into our gym, it's actually a little part of that is actually on the wall in the gym. And so some people have no clue where that even came from. We're just like, what is that? Well, folks, you're looking at the person responsible for that. So would you be willing to do us the pleasure or give us the pleasure of maybe giving a little sample of this song so that folks know next time they go in the gym where it came from?
Yeah. I can definitely play a sample. Let me share my screen here real quick so I can share it with you all. Can you see let me see. We good right there? Okay, I'm gonna play a little bit for y'all. And yeah, this was when I was like, I think I was 18 at the time, and Coach Conley just was like, you know, it'd be cool if somebody could remix our fight song. And I took the challenge. Me and my friend D Freezy, I gotta shout him out. That's Devin Friedman. He was also in my class, and so he's at the beginning of this. So here we go.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that. Thank you, Iva. Appreciate that. So
no problem.
Yes. So the thing with football that's interesting and neat is that a lot of people don't know the football team actually learns the fight song. So would either of you actually like to talk a little bit? Actually, in Dallas, jump on in here too. could you all tell us a little bit about that? So a lot of people don't know their school fight song, but at the end of football games, after you win, you all sing it. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of tradition for us as football players to learn it. I think by the time your senior year comes, it's like second nature to just recite it. And it's one of those things that after a game you win, you looking at the guys on the field and looking at our fans that are in the stands and our coaches, and we're all singing it together. It's just a good feeling. So it's just one of those things that gets us hyped after the game.
I love that. Absolutely love that. Dallas, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just trying to say that, yeah, at first I wasn't too keen to learn it because they said our incentive to learn it was, they said we had to sing it in Callan while everyone was like eating, like on some like Mad Flash type thing. So I was like, oh wow, that's gonna be something. But I mean, it does kind of, I don't feel good to kind of like that's a way to celebrate after a big game.
All right, I hear that for sure. So Jordan, I'm gonna kick it back to you really quick. You mentioned when you were introducing yourself a little bit about the NFL, and I'm sure there's some people that are kind of like, say that again now. Small town, born in Danville, NFL. So some people might be wondering, how did that happen? Could you tell us about your journey through sports and how you ultimately ended up living your dream as a small town boy, playing in the NFL on not one, but multiple teams?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy. I was actually just talking about this earlier this week. Seems like a lifetime ago. And really it was, my last year was 2017, which wasn't that long ago, but I mean, so much has happened since, you know. But yeah, taking it back. So I didn't start playing football like very early. I was always a soccer player growing up. Love sports. I mean, I've been around sports my whole life. I mean, my dad, like I said earlier, athletic trainer. So I grew up in the training room, rolling around in little chairs and stuff like that, just around sports. And I was always convinced I was going to go play like Premier League soccer, like MLS, get that D1 soccer scholarship, all this stuff. And I didn't join the football team until my sophomore year at Danville High School. And I did it just because my brother was on the team and just kind of following in big brother's footsteps, you know. And I actually I had 0 football scholarships coming out. And I actually had an NAIA like partial scholarship for soccer. So I was leaning towards that like the entire time. And it was actually my dad that told me, he's like, you know what, I think you got a better shot going football. I mean, who knew who's going to be right, you know? But I took a chance. I was a walk-on, preferred walk-on as they call it, to Murray State. So I didn't get any money, turned down those soccer scholarships. And for those of you that don't know, like with center, like since my dad worked at the school, I got in-state tuition, like stuff like that, that is through like benefits. So all the decisions I made with my college, instead of looking like out of state and stuff like that, I kept it in state, just thinking financially. So I went to Murray State, and that was the point where I realized, I mean, football at that level, which is the level everybody wants to go to, it's at least the coaching staff that was in place wasn't a great fit for me. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't like enjoying the school atmosphere, the whole culture in that area, or the whole culture at that school. And for some people, I'm sure they've had great experiences. For me, it was not a good experience. Grades suffered. Again, just overall not good. Then I looked at transferring. And of course I had my eyes set on UK. You know, I wanted to go try to walk on there and all this stuff. And it turns out my grades weren't good enough. And so I took a year off. So I actually took like a sabbatical from football and all that and went to a community college, which a lot of people don't know. And I was also, when I went to Murray, one thing, I was really immature. I mean, I was 18, you know, which a lot of you guys can relate to, and wasn't making the best decisions. And again, I think it was just that culture I was in. And so during that year off, I got my grades up. And then the last place I thought I'd ever end up was Center College. I mean, like I said, I grew up there. I remember some of my favorite memories as a kid was riding on the bus to like away football games, and all the guys in the back trying to get me to cuss and stuff, and like be a bad influence on me, and just so they could go tell my dad. But ended up going to center, and that was where I fell in love with just being like a student athlete, because the D3 level, we are the true like student athletes left. Like most of these big schools, I got a lot of friends that went to big schools, and I mean, they're athletes first. Where at center, it was amazing. Like you just get engulfed in this community, this culture where you actually look forward to studying. Like you grades are first and then football second. And that love, that passion and stuff comes out again. And it was, I mean, center has shaped me in such a way, and just having people like President Roush, Coach Fry, Coach Conley, my dad, all these great influences around me, even the professors, really molded me. And then getting back on the football track, though, I know I'm talking about center, but doors started opening that I never thought imaginable, like that, because that wasn't my dream. And obviously it was my dream, but it wasn't like, I didn't think I had the potential to go on to that next level, but stuff started just kind of opening up. And I ended up going to what's called this regional combine, which is like so you got the big combine you see on TV, but then there used to be, I think there still are, I'm not sure. This was like I said, like 10 years ago. But you pay to go to these regional combines, and there weren't scouts at like the first ones. It was kind of like you guys have seen Invincible when they do the open tryout, and you got like guys with beer bellies and stuff trying out. That's what it looked like to me. Like there's people in their 40s, still hanging on to the dream. And so I went to that, competed, qualified to go into the super regional. From there, that's where actual scouts were. And then from that, I ended up getting invited to rookie minicamp with Carolina. And I mean, it was a whirlwind. This was like right around finals at center. I go down there. I remember walking in the building and I see Cam Newton for the first time. And it's just like complete starstruck, just, oh my gosh, that's Cam Newton. He like just won the national championship, and so I go through that whole experience. I have no idea if I make the team. They like bring everybody in right afterwards, after like the rookie mini camp. And they're like, if we haven't grabbed you by now, appreciate the opportunity. You best of luck in your football career. And I remember I was walking out of the room with all these like Kenyon Barner and all these big, draft picks. They were all sitting there, and a scout grabs me and is like, hey, by the way, we're going to keep you. I'm like, keep me for what? And they're like, all of it, kicking, punting, kicking off, all that. And I just remember calling my dad, and I was like, guess what? I'm not coming home. But then I did have to go home. I had to take my finals because I was a good student, Center College, had to keep the academics up. Graduated, went through training camp, all that stuff, and I got cut. Then I took that whole year off, working construction, training, trying to just keep fighting for the dream. I thought something was going to happen that first season. Didn't get a call until the Giants called me back in it was December. Went up there for a tryout, made the team, stayed with them, got cut, went back to Carolina, stayed with them through that preseason. And then that was kind of where things changed. So that second, again, like it's funny how sports teach you how perseverance is the big thing. Perseverance, discipline. You keep attacking. I mean, because in sports you're gonna get knocked down, but you just got to get up and keep pushing forward and keep fighting. And that's what I love about sports, and that's what sports have taught me in my life is you're gonna fail. Like we all fail, but you just got to keep up and keep going. And so that second preseason was where it was kind of like my breaking point, or not my breaking point, but the biggest moment for me, because we played the Bills. I think it was preseason game 3. I think it was. And I was kicking off, I was punting, and I was kicking field goals. I was doing all the duties. And we got an onside kick that game, and all sorts of things were going right. And then once Carolina cut me, so by now I've been cut 3 times. Like I said, a lot of failures along the way. the Bills ended up calling me like 3 weeks or 3 days after that. They claimed me off waivers is what it's called. And so I go up there for the 4th preseason game. And I remember I landed, kicked in the game, didn't practice with the team at all. And then I'm sitting in my hotel room. And this is when like, it's all out of your control. You did what you could do and you're just waiting. And you see people getting cut. You see them like moving people around. You're sitting in the hotel room, like no idea what's going on. It's not like they're sitting there talking to you, calling you like, hey, we're going to do this. Hey, we're going to do that. And nothing happened. So I just go to the facility the next day, like nothing happened. And that was when they sat me down and said, you know, we're going to put you on the 53-man roster. Congratulations. You're a Buffalo Bill. And then that was where I spent most of my career. And then I did get cut a few more times. I think total I've been cut about 7 or 8 times. But I know there's a long-winded story. Kind of the moral of the story, though, is no dream is too small. No dream is too big. You know, if there's something that you want bad enough in life, you just got to keep pushing through it. You never know what's going to happen. If a door opens, go through it, you know. And, I mean, failure is part of life. Like, just keep pushing forward, keep going. But yeah, sorry, that was long.
You're good. Honestly, there were so many nuggets of wisdom in that, though. It's not about, you know, this is a storytelling conversation. We're here to hear about performance. And so all of these things are part of performance. And yeah, so you mentioned perseverance and you mentioned discipline. So if there are any kids out there, I hope you were listening very closely because there were a lot of great points made there in Jordan's story. And Michael Jordan, another famous Jordan, also got cut from his high school basketball team, and we saw what came of that. So don't let failure stop you. It might be a stumbling block, but all it does is teaches you that there's another way around it, and there's another way to do something to get to your dream. So Jordan, thank you so much for sharing your story. Olivia, so yeah, we talk a lot of times when we are wearing a uniform, sometimes we kind of almost get like pigeonholed into being that person, that character. Nobody really knows too much more about us. So one of the things that you mentioned in your introduction is that you did some glass blowing, which is something a lot of people here at Center won't have the opportunity to do. We all get to walk past the JVAC, but you actually got to go in there and blow glass with the world-renowned, the late Stephen Ralph Powell. So the question for you is, could you share with us some of the lessons and the memories maybe that you had from your time with glassblowing?
Absolutely. So first off, I got super lucky. I feel just incredibly fortunate to have had the opportunity to even get in the class, right? I mean, at least back when I was there, the way they were doing class registration was by last name on a rotation. So like, what were the odds that, you know, this semester, my senior year, when I would have time to do the glass blowing, that I'd be able to get in? But I mean, it seems like the stars aligned for me, right? But I just felt very fortunate to have the opportunity to do it. And so I've got, I mean, countless memories of, you know, being just, and what I remember most, I should say, is just being in sheer awe most of the time whilst I was in the glass studio, you know, whether it was watching Steve do his amazing Steve things, or even, you know, some of the studio art students working on the bench next to me. There's just an incredible amount of talent in that area at Center, and you know, in such a small school in the middle of Kentucky. I mean, who would have ever thought, right? But what I remember most about being down there is, like I said, just being amazed and sometimes honestly even overwhelmed, right? And not necessarily all in a bad way, overwhelmed like, oh gosh, you know, everyone around me is so talented, but just overwhelmed by, you know, the opportunity, the kind of stars aligned scenario, right? Usually the overwhelmed feeling honestly was in a good way. But being down in the glass studio, something that I figured out pretty quickly about glass, at least for a novice like me, is that sometimes the mistakes that I was making would make the coolest art, or would turn out to be whatever I thought was the coolest final product. There were some times, you know, I would maybe pop my bubble too quickly, or I was trying to work with a piece of glass that was too hot and things might not turn out how I had planned. You know, this great plan that I had for this piece of art may not have ultimately come to fruition, right? But when things came out of the annealer, sometimes those were the ones that I was most fond of, right? Most proud of. And so sort of in kind of a Bob Ross style, right? There were no mistakes when I was down there, which was kind of liberating in a way, right? That, you know, I just learned not to be afraid of trying things. You know, as far as art, doing art, making art with my hands, I was definitely a novice. This was kind of my first, not my first rodeo, right? But close to it. And so just being down there and being able to watch other artists as well as just try things by myself. I really felt that freedom to just experiment. And if things didn't work out, then sometimes that meant that they were going the best for me, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. So, I mean, as I listen, of course, being the kind of geek that I am, and getting excited about not only just the athletic side of things, but also the artistic side of things. Something that you said there that I thought was pretty powerful was like, sometimes beauty comes out of these unexpected ways. So you may have gone into your art, your glass blowing with an idea, and then all of a sudden you're like, no, this isn't what I want. But then it becomes something absolutely beautiful and unexpected. So I love that. And I think there's an element of that within athletics too. So sometimes we go into it saying we're going to have this perfect game, but you know what? It may not be perfect. But yeah, we still end up having a good game anyway. So
yeah, right. And the things that you had planned that were going to be perfect about the game, maybe was not the point of the game at all, right? You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. As a coach, I know we have all had those moments. Well, as a former coach, we've all had those moments. I had to catch myself. I'm still, it's an adjustment. But yeah, like we have those moments where we're like, no. Well, yes, that was wonderful. Good job.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
we've all had those moments. But yes, don't be afraid to try things. So thank you, Olivia. All right. So we have one more panelist that we've got a little treat in store for you with. Dallas, our youngest member of the panel. Let's come around to you for a second. You're pretty much the face of this event. So there's that beautiful image when we first came in of a football player with a helmet and drumsticks. Meet Dallas Douglas. So Dallas, can you tell us just a little bit about that moment? Tell us a little bit about Kentucky Ensemble, but just tell us about your involvement with music.
Okay, so I actually started playing drums when I was 2 years old. My dad had started teaching me when I was really young because he wanted to have like a family band. He started playing drums when he was 18 years old, and then had me, and he started playing bass and started teaching me drums, and taught my little brother piano a little bit. But we're all drummers, and we like love to have jam sessions and stuff together. And so it's always fun, especially like that family chemistry that we all kind of have. But yeah, I've been playing drums mostly like in a lot of places. I've done like shows, like theater shows. I've played at Kentucky Center for the Arts. Had a play that I was performing. That was actually I was the main character. That was in a play called Dallas Cole School for the Arts. I don't know if anyone knows, like my Instagram is DC Dallas. My middle name is Cole. But yeah, that was a time for me. We were supposed to go to New York to perform, but that school year had a lot of snow days, and we were supposed to go to so we had to cancel the trip. But yeah, here I'm in Rhythm Fusion and Kentucky Ensemble. Kentucky Ensemble is really cool. It's a lot of dope people, a lot of dope individuals. Same with Rhythm Fusion. I love just like performing and playing. Here I kind of just like something that I always love to look forward to, just because like I feel I get to express myself in many different ways. I find that like drums is so easy like for me to pick up, but I feel like drums can be easy for everyone. Like everybody says like they don't have rhythm, but I mean like if you can like count to 4, I mean like you can do it. So but yeah, as far as the picture, I didn't really notice it until like I think like my mom showed me a picture like after the game. She came to the game that family weekend and like took a video, took a picture out. I believe the game started at like 12, like right at noon or something like that, and I didn't really get on stage till like 11:45 or something like that. And so I was like, I had to kickoff, so I was first one out. So I decided to go on with my pads. I wasn't gonna put them on at first, but as time got to going down, some of the people in the group were like, you should put your pads on. Like, why not? I was like, okay. So I did. It was I don't know. It was uncomfortable at first because I knew I was like looking at me like I felt like I looked like ridiculous. But then I thought to myself, I'm like, I'm playing drums. Let me just enjoy myself while I'm here. So. I really love music. I'm planning on being a music major. There's a lot of things that I didn't know that were like a little bit more difficult. I'd assume just because I'm kind of I've always like played by ear, like just listening to something. Like I'm really big on like feeling music and like whatever comes to me. However, I react to it. I feel like I'm kind of on like a different way when it comes to just enjoying music and listening to music. Like I can find like the beauty in any song, like or in anything. If it sounds good, like I just love good music. It's been tough trying to like kind of balance both though, since like I started playing football when I was 6 years old. I started playing drums when I was 2. So like I've always like through life had to kind of like balance, pick and choose like which one I had to do. Like sometimes like I would have to theater show like right after practice, or like I remember like in concerts in high school I'd either like be leaving like football practice, basketball practice, track practice, like just like always kind of like ripping and running, staying busy, doing both. And like staying busy keeps you out of trouble, but I know sometimes I'll be like really kind of exhausted, just wanting a break. But yeah, I think what I've kind of like learned to how to like kind of manage my time. I know it's still something like that I can work on, but it's definitely like just trying to be so involved with a lot of that's just kind of being on top of myself.
Thank you, Dallas. So one of the things that I've had the opportunity to actually see you play live, and it was pretty amazing. So yeah, I that's all I can say. I'm not gonna, it was just amazing, period. So would you by chance be able to show the folks a little something?
I got a little something I can share my screen really fast.
It's actually a very handsome picture, Dallas.
Thank you. All right. Was it frozen? Oh. I'm sorry. Can y'all hear the video? I apologize.
Yeah.
You're good.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
But yeah, that was I record a lot in in my basement and stuff. Those are my drums. I got those drums for my birthday a couple of years ago. Played a couple shows in them, my babies. But I am also recently, I think last fall, I became sponsored by Soul Tone Cymbals. Those are the cymbals that I use in my drums. I'm working towards, hopefully, like when COVID is done, I can fly out to California and record my video with them and get that put out there. But I'm definitely trying to work on my way up, trying to get out there in the music world and trying to get things together.
Hey, don't forget me.
Hey man, look, never.
I'll say, yeah, don't forget about Jordan, and then also help Iva out. He's trying to hit the 6 figures. Olivia has us all beat because she's in the STEM field. So she's going to be creating something amazing that we all didn't even know we needed. So yes. Well, this will be a great opportunity for us to kind of jump into some questions from the audience. We've had some questions start to come in, which is great. So as you continue hearing these conversations and these stories, by all means, please drop some questions into the chat for us. So this is a question pretty much for anybody on the panel that wants to answer it. What advice would you give students about the value of being involved in traditional arts and sports?
I think for both of those worlds, they really show you how dedicated you are to what you're doing. Because with music, with being at center, like I said, I was in a choir and different things like that. And this was my first time like singing classical music. When I came to center, they tried to put me in the upper level theory. I told them, y'all tripping because I don't know how to read music. And so that was like a big adjustment. And so I ended up having to take piano lessons and voice lessons to learn how to read music, because if I was going to be a music major, then that was an essential thing to know. And so there were countless nights that I was in the piano room in the music building until midnight, 1, 2 in the morning, learning the music and different things like that, because I knew I was behind my classmates. But at the same time, when it came to football, I was still getting up early because we had our workouts that we still had to do during the week. And so it's really one of those things that if you want to see yourself being successful in either area, whether it's sports, the arts, or anything else, it's really one of those things that you have to dedicate time to, and really just, for lack of better terms, perfect your craft that you're involved in.
Kind of to add on to that, I think that there's importance in it, right? Because it, at least for me, I can speak personally, it feeds two very different parts of who I am. For me, the art was a stress relief, right? I mean, I mentioned that I sang with Center Singers, and it was, I mean, I still catch myself, right? If I'm stressed out or, whatever it may be, I mean, singing still is a stress reliever for me. Now, granted, it's more karaoke style in the car, but it's still the kind of thing that that for me is just can help me release energy. Whereas when I was at center, competing athletically in a more organized way than I am now, that was not necessarily a stress mounter, but it created a certain amount of stress just based on the level of performance that I was holding myself to, right? And so that kind of gave me the opportunity to, like Iva mentioned, perfect my craft, right? That was something that I would really wanted to focus on and really produce my best possible product, while the art for me was more of an, okay, we can let it go. You're not going to be perfect at this, so take your time and enjoy it. So it really did kind of feed the two different sides of who I am.
Anybody else want to chime in on that one? Iva and Olivia, thank you so much. So Olivia, you're actually not off the hot seat yet. Your next question is about glassblowing. So it just came through the chat here. the comment is, I love your attitude about mistakes, but you didn't learn that from Steve Powell, did you? I thought he threw away his mistakes.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. And I messaged back there. I think maybe that could be why. And I thought he never made any mistakes, but no. So yeah, I mean, Steve was certainly a perfectionist, right? He treated his art, and Steve himself was a great athlete as well, playing tennis and whatnot in his time at center. But I think he treated his art in much the same way that I treated my athletics, right? That was the one thing that I needed to hone, and I, just for my own satisfaction. And I think for him, it was the same way. And so I would say that that's probably correct, as he was burying his mistakes as much as he possibly could. Not that I think the man made many mistakes.
That's so true. So true. Thank you very much. The next question, Jordan, actually goes to you about the NFL. What's the pulse of the locker room with social justice issues are brought to light, like taking a knee, for example? And that's actually a great segue to a topic about, again, us as people, separate from us in uniforms doing a job on a field. Like, we have causes that mean things to us. So to the question, would you mind to give us your thoughts on the pulse of the locker room when social justice issues were brought to light?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I was kind of like, right when Kaepernick and all those other guys were doing the, Black Lives Matter movement, I was kind of like on my way out. So I was kind of before all that was going on. I mean, it was always kind of, not always talked about in the locker room, but we all stand together, I mean, at least the teams I've been on, it's always been that way. I mean, as most of you guys know who play sports, it's such a melting pot in the locker room. Like, it's such an amazing environment, because it doesn't matter where you come from, what your socioeconomic status is, you're all one, you all fight for the same cause. And that's what I love about sports too, is it's such a great uniter. And that's the way I felt like the locker room was most of the time when I was in there. If there's other things outside, like we didn't talk about, but when you're together, it's like a brotherhood. You got each other's back. I don't know if that answers the question or sheds any light on that, but that's a hard question to answer.
I don't think there's a perfect answer to it, because it's really about how we are affected by these things. So, and it's what we personally experience. So I think your answer was it was a great answer. So yeah, appreciate that. To the rest of you though, I would ask the kind of the different spin on that question is, some people almost see athletes as folks that just need to kind of, dribble the ball, just shut your mouth, dribble the ball. I don't want to see you taking a knee. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see that. Just play the game. Do you all feel like, or what are your thoughts on using our platforms as athletes, as role models for the youth to actually speak up and speak out?
I'll jump in here real quick. So, I mean, like you've said, right, it is a use of your platform as an athlete. I mean, this fight for social justice or whatever your cause may be, right? It's not the kind of thing that's going to progress with, if you have just a little bit of buy-in, maybe a couple people buy in. So in my view, it's the kind of thing that those of us who really want to create that progress, right, we have to mobilize and we have to utilize every resource that we have. And so if you're a professional athlete and, these, or whatever your platform may be, right, to me, that those athletes are just utilizing every resource which is available to them, right, just like the rest of us. And when I hear that concept of, the whole just shut up and dribble idea, it's almost laughable to me, right? Because in this age of social media, anyone with a following, like most of these athletes we're discussing, or it could be musician, really anyone, you're more than just what your primary occupation is. I mean, I myself follow this large cohort of professional women's soccer players on, any form of social media that I can get a hold of. And sometimes I have to remind myself, right? Like, hey, you don't actually know these women. They're not your friends. Because I feel so much a part of their lives, right? Whether it's having a morning cup of coffee with them, like daily, it feels like, or, watching them get married, watching them raise their first kid. Like, it's gotten to the point where these athletes are humanized to such a level of familiarity that speaking the idea that they should not speak on issues that are important to them as human beings, it's just ludicrous to me, right? I mean, we're in their homes, for lack of better wording there. I mean, they're not your best friends, but like, in a way, it feels like that sometimes, right? I mean, they're so humanized, they're so familiar to us, that to then try and put someone back in a box, maybe because you just don't like what their human has to say now, what the human side of them is, talking about now, is just a little bit ridiculous, I think.
Go ahead, Dallas.
All right. I'm from Louisville, from West Louisville particularly. So I was back home going to like a protest. Actually, like the picture that I have from my Zoom call, that was a picture I took for a flyer for the protest down on Frankfurt. I've been kind of like really involved with that, just knowing that because of like how things have ended up, or like with that situation, like Breonna Taylor easily could have been one of my cousins, like, you know what I'm saying, my brother, my sister. So like it could have been me. So I feel like, just like as a Black man, I have to be out there, because, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to make things better for tomorrow. Like, I know things don't, change overnight. I know, like, things that happen here, like there's, like, you wish for change, and like, yeah, it might not come so easily, might not come like right when you want it. But I mean, I think you still have to keep pressing on. I think like what Jordan was saying earlier, like perseverance is something that's like that. I think as a people that we've always had to go through and endure constantly. As far as trying to like use my platform, I do have been trying to like, kind of voice like certain opinions. When the case came out in September, the football team decided not to practice and to have a team-wide conversation, and where me and the players just stood up and voiced how they were feeling about what had happened. I stood up there. Don't like to admit it, but I was, just because like I had been out like working all summer, just for, basically, I don't know, like essentially nothing from what had happened. I just been like, I've been hurt, and like just feeling like deep pain, like so angry, not knowing really what to do, like with myself, with my emotions. So like I kind of needed that day just to kind of, say my piece. Probably could have stood up there and spoke for hours, probably even days, but I think those are the type of things, those type of conversations that like people need to have to kind of like come to an understanding mutually. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I'm supposed to be moderating, but I'm gonna also jump in here too, because as a former athlete, right? I can identify with these things. When you talk about your teammates and those, people that become your family, when there's issues like this that affect one of your family members so deeply, the question I would offer for folks to think about is, how could you not care? how could you be indifferent in that moment when you see your brother or your sister hurting so badly, not poorly, but so badly. And I do think, you know, Dallas, something you said there about how you could just speak about it, and the pain and things. I think a lot of times we feel that we have to put on this not proud face, but we feel like we just have to put on a face and keep moving. And I think a lot of times we need to have the space to be able to show that I'm hurting. Can you just give me a minute? I'm hurting. And yeah, all of those things with the civil unrest, the deaths of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, so on and so forth. And that's deep stuff that you don't just go, okay, and then move on. Like it takes time. So I'm glad to hear about that. I'm glad that you shared your experience with us. I know we did the same on the women's soccer team. We took a moment as well. So yeah, I think what I would just offer to folks out there is your teammates are your family, and it's like lean in these moments to hear what your teammates have to say, because we do have stories to share. We do hurt. We do have pain. We cry, and it means the world when that genuine care is there from our teammates and coaches. So, Iva, I saw you come on mute for just a second. Go ahead, you got the floor, and then after that, we'll pop back over to the chat.
Yeah, I won't be long. I was just gonna say, really, with the shut up and dribble thing, it's one of those things that when we think about it, athletes' voice and opinions has always been a part of sports. Whether it was them supporting their hometown and, you know, trying to help out local people or different things like that, or even when we look at Muhammad Ali when he refused to fight in the war. It's always been a part of sports. And I think one of the things that we have today is in America, we have a lot of personal things like Olivia was talking about before. You know, we feel a personal connection with people who in the past would have been unreachable, that you would have had to send a letter and hope that they respond to your family. And so now we have that connection with them. And with that came a sense of entitlement, in a sense of us as fans, to where we feel like we can control what they say, what they do. You know, we're the ones paying for tickets. You know, we look at it that way. But in a sense, I think if you're on either side, you know, you could agree with Black Lives Matter, disagree with Black Lives Matter. But one thing is, you know, as humans, we have to sometimes learn empathy. I think when we learn that and put ourselves in somebody else's shoes, it makes a big difference. You know, I had a conversation with some guys here, and one of the things that they talked about, you know, with the whole thing of George Floyd, you know, did we think about the family of the cop? Did we think about the family of George Floyd at the same time? There are people hurting all around. And so when we speak out about it, it's about a central thing of people hurting. And so I think when we look at that, we just have to be a little more empathetic when we think about things like shut up and dribble, because athletes are people too. You know, they go through life situations, deaths of family members, all those different things. And everybody's affected equally. The things that we feel at home, they feel on the screen as well.
Thank you, Iva. So the next thing we want to do, there's a question that we have to you, Dallas, that we might circle around and see if we can just get pumped to you a little bit later about your endorsement. So don't want to start that, but I do want to make sure to voice that and lift that. I would like to go ahead and skip to the question though about from your biggest fan, Stephanie Bomfo, an amazing woman on this campus who does a lot of amazing things. So if you don't know her, you should. All right, so Stephanie says, how do you stay true to the field and to the drums and to the classroom, even when you don't feel like it?
Yeah, that's a good one. I definitely, there's definitely a lot of times I'm just so worn out, so tired that like I call myself an old man a lot of times, that like I get done with one thing, I'm just, oh God, I'm ready to take a nap. But I think just finding like that motivation, like what motivates me, like what do I want to see myself, like who do I want to make proud? I definitely like I would definitely say like my parents, my mom and dad, they always tell me, it's like, I know like every day I used to leave for school, like go off to the bus, they'd be like, just make me proud. And I'm like, okay, like, yeah, like I can do that. Like that would be like my goal, my objective. I want to be able to like take care of them and you know what I'm saying, in their old age, because they've done so much for me. They blessed me tremendously, present me with numerous opportunities that like I know I did not deserve. So like just wanted to, you know, be able to like pay them back and tenfold, because they've just, you know, been there just for me. And that's not even just them. It's been like a lot of other people. Like my play wouldn't have gotten off the ground if it weren't for Miss Nancy Morris. She kind of helped fund the play, get it off the ground. She was going to help us go to New York, but yeah, like other people, somebody, Brother Dave Christopher, I went to church with him. He actually just paid for my books for a class this semester. Like people who like are always kind of like helping me, like, you know, put me in positions that like, you know, that help me tremendously. Like, so yeah, just wanted to be good for those people, not waste my chance and opportunities that I was given.
Thank you so much, Dallas. Let's see, well, we'll go ahead and digress for a moment. There was a comment in the chat that I definitely want to lift. So Edward from the chat noted that artists are very likely to use their professional platform to express their thoughts or agenda. So the question is, why should athletes be prescribed from being a human with an opinion or point of view? So I think that's a great point to kind of raise as well. And I apologize, that didn't exactly fit together seamlessly, but I wanted to definitely lift that comment. So a couple more questions as we start to kind of get low on time here. I want to circle back and kind of look back at our intersectionality between being a performer in general on the two arenas, either sport or within the arts. So Olivia, I'm going to kick this one to you. Are there ways that you found being a performer within sport was enhanced by your involvement within the arts and vice versa?
Absolutely. So, I mean, that, you know, both kind of taught me to think on my feet, and to think on my feet in front of people. With athletics, kind of as you age and as your skill level grows, you know, the crowds tend to grow a little bit, whether that becomes, you know, it goes from your parents to your peers, and then your parents to your peers, and then maybe some visiting parents, or, you know, the crowds grow. And so athletics kind of came natural to me. And so I never really feared failure as far as being in front of a crowd went in that way, right? Mistakes happen in athletics, and they happen all the time, even in, even in some of these higher stakes positions like goalkeeping, right? I mean, you make a mistake, people know, right? But athletics allowed me to kind of shake some of that fear of making mistakes, and so that kind of informed some of, you know, what I discussed earlier in just the ability to kind of let it go, right? These things happen, and or they're happy accidents, right? And that things turn out really well. And then, to be perfectly honest, blowing glass is probably one of the more physical activities I've ever been a part of. So athletics certainly informed that ability to, move. I'm running from place to place. And I mean, if you look at some of these bigger pieces that some of these more experienced athletes or artists, do, I mean, they're lifting heavy things. They're, working with really heavy equipment. It's just, so yeah, I mean, being an athlete certainly didn't hurt in the glass studio. But yeah, so I think, I mean, they both inform one another in many ways, but those are probably two of the ones that stand out most to me, at least tonight.
Well, thank you very much. I'm seeing Steve's face, which gives me the gives me the impression we've reached the end here. So Steve, if you don't mind, I can offer a few closing remarks. I know there may be still things out there burning in folks' minds. So if you have questions, feel free to email those in to us. Like, you can put them in the chat directly and we can try to circle around and get that to the artist. I think I'm taking some of Steve's thunder here. I'm sorry. But yes, so on behalf of the Norton Center for the Arts, myself, our incredible panelist of guests, and all of you out there in Zoom land, just a huge, huge thank you for being here. So thank you for attending. Thank you for participating, all of the above. Before kicking it back to Steve to take us out, I just want to urge everyone to continue to do your work, on your end to put an end to this COVID situation. Wear your mask, plural, as in dose, too, and remain physically distant from folks, but never, never, never socially distant. We should always be connected to one another. So reach out to those who may need it, who you haven't talked to in a while, just to make sure that we're all okay so that we can get through this and get to the other side. So my name is Jessica Chisley. It's been my pleasure to be your moderator this evening. This has been Culture Plus Sport and Performance. Steve, over to you.
Wow. And you just said, do the work. I think that's so important, whether it's on the field, on stage, on the canvas, in the classroom, meeting people. I mean, be present, be there. I mean, that's such a great sentiment and great way to close. It's just been such an honor to have this esteemed group of performers share their stories with us. And esteemed group is definitely a great way to describe all of you. You're very insightful. Olivia, Jessica, Dallas, Iva, and Jordan, thank you so much. You can learn more about the panelists, their services, video clips, and other information about the performance, or other information about performance, I'll use the quotes, as it relates to the arts and athletics on the nortoncenter.com website within the next week or so. We always offer a recap so that you can see the video again. You can get some additional resources, or you can just learn more about the panelists. So our next Culture Plus program, Culture Plus Bourbon, will take place on Tuesday, March 16. As the title suggests, this program will explore the intersection of culture with one of Kentucky's most popular industries, bourbon. Included on the program will be representatives from Jephthah Creek and Buffalo Trace distilleries, and Danville's very own Wilderness Trail Distillery, and Jane Barleycorn's Market and Bar. The webpage with more information and how to register is already up at nortoncenter.com. Because you are each and every one of you lifelong learners, I also invite you to check out our website and discover other new and thrilling programs that you can attend virtually. Again, all of you, thank you for participating on this panel, and for everyone in the virtual audience, thank you for being part of this special program. We really appreciate it, and stay safe and stay well, and have a great rest of your evening.